So we'll be talking about phenomena with science relevance and how you can drive student curiosity with phenomena. So this session is going to look how you can engage with your students and to drive their understanding and student achievement. And I don't want to give too much away, but yes, that's me and I'm your moderator. Any technical difficulties, feel free to reach out. Questions, use the Q&A box or the chat box. I am so excited and pleased to have Jason Marshall join us today. Thank you, Jason, for being here. I'm so glad you could make it. Jason, for those of us who are seeing you for the first time, do you mind introducing yourself for us, please?
Sure. Thank you, Suresh. My name is Jason Marshall. Good to be with you all. Thank you for joining. I'm a national science consultant with McGraw Hill Education, but I wasn't always a national science consultant. I started as a K-5 and middle school science teacher in Fort Worth, Texas. And so I taught science. I loved it so much that I decided to go outside of the classroom and try to get involved with instructional material development and curriculum and working with McGraw Hill on our science products. So I'm excited to talk to you a little bit today about phenomena, how it might play a role in a lesson, and I'll show you a model lesson with Inspire Science, our K-5 and 6, 8, and 9, 12 science programs, and how that phenomena flows through the lesson and how you might see it flow through your lessons as well.
Thank you, Jason. That sounds very exciting. I look forward to it. Okay, I can stop sharing my screen and let Jason share his screen, but I'm here in the background if you guys need any support, any help, and give me a shout, Jason, if you need me to do anything.
Okay, that sounds great. Just a second, and we'll be ready to go here. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for being here. And this session is about phenomena and what kind of a role does it play in a lesson and what might it look like? Now, every classroom has a different idea of what phenomena can look in their classroom, but phenomena should drive instruction and should be revisited throughout the course of a science lesson. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And you're going to see how it looks in the McGraw Hill Inspire Science program and how it flows through those lessons. And along the way, I'm going to talk a little bit about what makes Inspire Science unique. And I'm going to call those Inspire Science differences. So just to get a framework for how Inspire Science is built and how that phenomena works its way through, let's start with some housekeeping. How is our science program built? Now, your science program may be built a little bit differently, but the lesson that I share with you today is built into 4 interactive write-in student work texts. Now, what do I mean by interactive write-in student work texts? I mean, students are literally writing in these texts. They're journaling in these texts. They're collecting their data in these texts. That's because their labs are in these work texts, and they get replaced every year for every student. When I was in school, and maybe when you were in school, we had a hardbound book, and you couldn't write in it. Well, these write-in books really facilitate phenomena-based instruction because students can share their thinking about phenomena. They can share their thinking about the driving question all along the way. So that's why we use an interactive write-in work text. And as we work through this interactive work text, know that these 4 units are broken down into modules, and the modules are broken down into lessons. If you want to think of the modules as chapters, feel free to do that. We just happen to call them modules. Units, and there's 4 of them per grade level, broken down into modules, broken down into lessons. That's true in middle school as well. 4 units per student per grade level, also interactive write-in work text. And by the way, these interactive work texts have a corresponding teacher's edition. At high school, we do have the hardbound books, a little bit more traditional, but still phenomena-based. And I'm going to share with you what a phenomena looks like in our K-5 series, in our a few phenomena from our 6, 8 series, and a phenomena from high school as well. We know students in our classrooms are accessing our content in so many different ways. So it's not just print books like the ones I shared. Everything that I share with you today, literally every experience has a digital mirror image. And that's great in a phenomena-based classroom because sometimes when students see a phenomena, they don't immediately have an idea of what's going on. They need to see it 2 or 3 or 4 times. And then all of a sudden it comes together and they go, hey, you know what, I think I have a really good idea of what I think might be going on. And so being able to assign these phenomena via homework digitally for students to view outside of class, think about it, watch it, revisit it, and then come in with some really well thought ideas. That's so important. Can't just have print in a phenomena-based program. You got to have that digital component as well on any device, PC, laptop, Chromebook, tablet, or smartphone. And there are other experiences that complement the phenomena-based approach. So in the upper left, you see one of our phenomena in our K-5 program. Those goats are up on that tree. Now, what are those goats doing up on that tree? Have you ever seen goats climb a tree? I haven't. What are they doing up there? And for what purpose? And how do they get up there? I usually climb using my fingers. I don't think goats have fingers. Phenomena are designed to spark curiosity and student-generated questions, and give students a desire to figure out what's going on over time. Every module lesson will begin with a phenomenon, and some of these other experiences you see throughout the lessons, things like simulations, videos, songs, and an interactive work text. So let's dig in a little bit deeper. Three-dimensional learning and phenomena-based instruction. What are phenomena? What is a phenomena? What can a phenomena be? Well, let's take a look at a few examples. Can this be a phenomena? An image of a plant? Yes, it can. A phenomena need not be phenomenal. It doesn't have to be. So with this plant, there's all sorts of things you can go, directions you can go. What's going on with this plant? It doesn't look like it's very well. Is it getting too much water? Not enough water? Too much sunlight? Not enough sunlight? Is it not getting the nutrient it needs to thrive? And this could launch a third grade lesson, if you will, on what plants need to survive and thrive. So a phenomena can be an image. What else can a phenomena be? Well, how about this one? Let's take a look at this one. Did you catch that? Let's watch this again. Let's take a look at this one more time. Got two arrows pointing the same direction. No, the bottom arrow is pointing to the right. Can this be a phenomena? Absolutely. What the heck is going on there? I've never seen that happen before. This is something students might be curious about and have questions and want to test and figure out what's going on through experimentation. So we see a phenomena can be a very simple image. A phenomena can be a video as well. We're going to take a look at both of those examples throughout the course of this presentation and a few others as well, because there's a few other things phenomena can be as well. So as we walk through an Inspire Science lesson for McGraw Hill, every module begins with a 2-page spread that looks like this. This is information processing and transfer. This is a 4th grade lesson in Inspire Science. And it starts with a driving question. How does a lighthouse transmit a message across a distance? So the information and processing and transfer module is all about how animals and humans communicate and perceive information. And is it possible we communicate, perceive information in similar ways? It says go online to see this video, clicks and echoes to see this phenomenon in action. I happen to have that phenomena up and running. So here's this phenomena, clicks and echoes. And it says touch and drag the video to explore the phenomena. So let's see what's going on here. Now, this is a 3D phenomenon that I can manipulate with my cursor. Now, something's making some noises. Can you hear that? What's making that noise? Let me scroll down below, see if we can see what's making that noise. Oh, we've got some dolphins down there. And they're clearly communicating. If they're communicating, does that mean they have a language? If they have a language, does that mean they have an alphabet of sorts anyway? Maybe not like ours. Do all dolphins speak the same language? By that I mean, does a dolphin in the Atlantic Ocean speak the same language as a dolphin in the Indian Ocean? How do they hear their language? I know I hear through my ears, and over time my brain has learned to make sense of those signals and patterns. How do dolphins hear? I don't see ears on those dolphins. Again, well-chosen phenomena are designed to spark curiosity and student-generated questions. So all of our phenomena are designed to be that way, very interesting and things that we want students to explore. So we begin this lesson with that phenomena. Next thing we're going to see in this lesson, let's go to the next page, is the 5E lesson model. And that works well in a phenomena-based classroom. It's a great structure for phenomena-based learning. Inspire Science lessons begin with an initial step that's even better phenomena-based learning. That's Paige Keeley and her formative assessment probes. It's what I like to call a low floor, high ceiling activity. Everybody in the science classroom gets to be a part of the science discussion. I taught science at the middle school level, and I had the same students raising their hands every single day. They were the confident ones. They were just inclined to raise their hand and share their thinking. And then I had other students in my classroom that were just as smart, and just as excited about science, but they didn't raise their hand. They weren't as confident. They were reluctant learners. And so the probe gives everybody an opportunity to have a voice in a science classroom. It also gives you an opportunity to uncover their ideas about science and perhaps even some misconceptions they have about science. So in this one, for this lesson, this is about animal eyes. Two friends were talking about animal eyes. They noticed that animals that are very active in light have very large eyes. And this is what they said. Laura said animals like owls have large eyes to help them see in the dark. They do not need light to see. Jaden said animals like owls have large eyes to help them see in the dark, but they still need some light to see. Who do you agree with most and why? The answer is not the most important part, okay? Because the answers are going to be all over the place. And with these probes, there may be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, even 7 answer choices. And students have to choose which answer they think is most accurate or best based upon their understanding of the science. But the answer is not the most important part. It's the explanation. What do you think? Let's have a discussion about it. And to share some ideas of what students think, there's some videos here. So this is just a snippet of a video that comes with Inspire Science to give you an idea of what students think about this topic.
We're going to talk about seeing things and how students see things, but I'm going to give you a warning right now. It's going to get dark because I'm going to turn off the lights. So what do students think about how you see things? Let's take a look.
I think your eyes see things because of parts in your body that help your eyes see things. If your eye sockets are good, then you can see them, and you can your eyes can actually tell your brain what color it is.
Your eyes are like a mirror. Like, sometimes I do this to my sister, like I'll look in her eyes to see something, and it's so I can see in her eyes, but it's not like on the white part of your eyes. It's not on it's like somewhere on the brown part, and sometimes on your black thing. I know what that's called, but it just won't come to my mind, but it's you can see through that too.
One time I watched a video about eyes, and in the back of it there's like this little flashlight that lets you see everything. And I think that that's the little white thing that's in your eye that lets you see everything.
You can see in the video that students have different ideas about how they see things. A common idea is this idea of vision, where the eyes actually send stuff out to grab something and bring it back in some way. But the idea that it's about the eyes. And really it's about the light. So let me show you this diagram.
Communicating and engaging in argumentation from evidence are science and engineering practices. And they're practices that literally students need practice at in order to be proficient. And they're essential in a phenomena-based classroom. So every student gets to be a part of the discussion. They're communicating, they're engaging in argumentation from evidence based on phenomena in the classroom. We have them share their thinking and Inspire Science, maybe with a sticky note strategy. This is one of about 20 strategies we include for students to share their thoughts and their thinking. Looks like the class is pretty evenly divided. About half the students have chosen Jaden as the best answer, and the other half has chosen Laura. We're going to revisit their thinking at the end, because a good phenomena-based classroom doesn't just get students to share their initial thinking, it constantly revisits their thinking about the phenomena throughout the lesson. And we'll see how that transpires throughout the lesson. From there, we go into a lesson. So we're at the module level, and we saw those dolphins. We had some experiences like the probe, and now we're at the lesson level. And the question is, how do eyes help animals see? And it says, check out the eyes to see this phenomenon in action. Every module and lesson in Inspire Science begins with a phenomena. In a phenomena-based classroom, that should be the case. So let's take a look at this one. It involves a cat. What is this cat looking at? And why are his eyes changing shape? Is there more or less light coming into the room? Is something getting closer or farther away from the cat? Is it possible the cat's communicating with another cat using its eyes? What's going on here? Again, good phenomena should be student-friendly, should be interesting, and spark student questions and curiosity. Every module lesson begins with one. And from there, we gotta figure this out, right? So you start with a phenomena, and then we try to figure things out over time. And we do that through inquiry and exploration. So now we're in the second E, explore, and that means elaborate investigation. In Inspire Science, they're supported with collaboration kits, so you don't have to go find your materials like I did in my science classroom at the store, the grocery store, to get your students engaged. They're all found in kits, and they're also supported with videos, especially at the K-5 level. Not every teacher is a science specialist. Some might be math specialists, literacy specialists, or just generalists. And labs can be a terrifying experience if you're just not comfortable with the science going in. But with Inquiry Teacher Preview videos, they show you how to set up the lab. What science do you need to know going into it? How does it look every single step of the way? Literally every step of the procedure is visually shown to you, like you see on the screen here. It even goes through questions students typically have in this lab and how to answer them. So as a teacher, I can go into the lab 100% confident with how this lab is going to be, because I've seen it take place already on video. The Inquiry Rewind video is designed for students, maybe students that miss lab day. Same type of idea, going through the lab step by step, but without the teacher content background and how to set up the lab. Students don't need that. They're going to need to know everything they need on that lab to be successful as a student. And with Inspire Science, we find some of our teachers use it as sort of a guide during lab day, where you pause, students watch what they need to set up, and then they set up themselves. You pause, they watch how the next step is going to go, and then they do it themselves. And that lab becomes a lot more structured and successful. So inquiry opportunities, trying to figure out what's going on with phenomena. But does it have to be a hands-on opportunity every single time in a phenomena-based classroom? No. It could be a virtual lab or simulation. And so simulations are critical or very helpful, I should say, in a phenomena-based classroom. I happen to have one up and running here. And so let's take a look at this one. This is an energy skate park where students are going to explore kinetic and potential energy. And so I have a skater here. I'm going to put him on the ramp. This is a PhET simulation, one of our partners of ours. And so we have this skater. He's going up and down the skate ramp. And if I'm a student and I'm at home exploring this, I might pause it at the top. And I can see he's all potential energy when he's at the top of the ramp. And then I could go and pause it at the bottom. And now it looks like it's turned into kinetic energy. But as a student, I might say to myself, boy, there's something unusual about this, maybe even unnatural, that wouldn't occur in the real world. Wouldn't that skater slow down at some point? It seems like he's going from the top of the ramp to the top of the ramp. And that's not how it occurs in the real world. What would cause the skater to slow down? Well, the students can explore that. That's fiction. And we don't have any friction in the system right now. So let's add some friction here. And now that skater starts to slow down. And we can see that both the kinetic and the potential energy values drop. But as they drop, notice what's increasing. The thermal energy. So the energy is conserved. It just changes form from kinetic to potential to thermal energy. And so this is an example of phenomena that students can explore outside of class and then come into class with some really well-formulated ideas. Remember that digital delivery of phenomena can be very valuable in a phenomena-based classroom. Just to reiterate what I said, sometimes sharing a phenomenon in class in front of everybody and they haven't seen it before may not be the best approach because students don't have time to process it and think about it. But if you send it to them on video and they can watch it 5 or 6 times a night, now it all comes together and they can come in with some really exciting ideas to share with the classroom. And the classroom becomes a lot more richer and discussion about phenomena does as well. These videos, these experiences are embedded right within the our Inspire Science lesson. And they tell you where you have an opportunity to go out online and explore. It might be through a simulation in this lesson on how different animals see the world, a cat versus a rat versus an eagle. Do they see the world differently? Students can explore that. How about in daytime versus nighttime? And how about from different angles and orientations? Students can explore this phenomenon and then come in with some really cool ideas. If I was a primary teacher, maybe we all do it together. Maybe technology at home may not be the best suited for this experience. Maybe we experience it together. But in a 5th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade classroom, I would certainly consider assigning this for students to come in.
Our eyes allow us to see some pretty spectacular things.
So phenomena can be expressed on videos just like we saw earlier.
Fun to see.
As we walk through this lesson, we got to pull it all together and make a real world connection. So phenomena in isolation isn't great. It has to be part of a science lesson and eventually need to connect it to vocations, ideally, that apply the science that we've been learning. And so at Inspire Science at K-5, we use a tool called STEM Career Kits. So students can see science applied in the real world. Ruby, she wants to be a veterinarian. And Ruby will share her passion about veterinary medicine. But our STEM career kids come in different genders, different ability levels, different ethnicities, and even nationalities. But they have one thing in common. They're excited about a STEM career, and they want to get your students in the class excited about a STEM career. So as we walk through the lesson, eventually we need to be assessed. Students will revisit that probe we saw at the beginning of the lesson. And by now, guess what? They've had maybe a couple labs. They've done some research. We've talked about the phenomena. They've had some real world applications. And now their thinking has changed quite a bit. Their initial thinking was expressed in the green sticky notes. Now at the end of the lesson, orange sticky notes show their thinking at the end of the lesson. Even scientists change their thinking as they get additional information and evidence. And that's how we want our students to think. It's okay that your initial assumptions and claims are incorrect. We revise them as we get additional evidence, and we want students thinking that way. That's a big Inspire Science difference. Having students share their thinking in writing is important as well. One of the tools we use in Inspire Science is called a foldable. We've been partners with foldables for about 20 years now. And in that time, foldables have become the most successful graphic organizer system in the world. And they're only used in McGraw Hill resources. Students, teachers use them outside of McGraw Hill, but they're only found in McGraw Hill materials, I should say. Students that use graphic organizers consistently outperform students that do not, and are a great way for students to share their ideas about phenomena. Differentiated instruction, you find these in many programs, but we also can show phenomena and just science content through ancillary resources like level readers, science paired read alouds, and investigator articles. In our pair read alouds, you're going to see a fiction piece where students are going to maybe see a story about the science that they're learning about. And then when we really want to dig into the hard science, we go to our nonfiction piece where students are going to learn about light and sound. In this particular paired read aloud, one of my favorites is the investigator articles, where students learn about engineering breakthroughs. So phenomena don't necessarily have to be about the natural world. It doesn't have to be phenomena in the natural. It could be phenomena in the designed world as well, man-made things, maybe like a solar panel. How does that harness energy from the sun? How is that possible? That is a great phenomenon. And that is a phenomenon from the design world, not the natural world. It's something man has created and women have created. And so these investigative articles go through engineering breakthroughs and cool science that students get excited about, things like driverless cars. And so these are additional ways to include phenomena in your classroom. As students learn a little bit about phenomena from lesson to lesson, eventually we ask them to apply it through a STEM module project, where they're going to use the engineering design process to come up with a creative solution to a very real world problem. Every module, K through 8 in Inspire Science, ends with a STEM project. Now, if you're a middle school teacher, everything we've seen so far is K5, but still applies K8, 6-8. So 4 modules per student per grade level. How does phenomena express itself here? Well, with the same 5E lesson model, starting with that Page-Keeley probe. And then we go into engage, and engage will start with a phenomena. So remember, a phenomena can be a video. Let's take a look at a middle school example. Here is, how does a microscopic amoeba perform all the same functions that you do to stay alive? Let's take a look at this microscopic amoeba here. Is it moving? Do we move? Yeah, we move. So far, we're very similar. It looks like this amoeba is starting to ingest things. Do we ingest things throughout the day? Yeah, we do. We have breakfast, lunch, dinner, don't we? And it looks like the amoeba is releasing things up here. See how it's kind of releasing things in the environment? It's ingesting, it's releasing, it's moving. Do we release things throughout the day? You don't have to answer that question if you don't want to, by the way. But yeah, we do. We move, we ingest, we release. This microscopic amoeba does a lot of the things that humans do to stay alive. And this leads students into a module on what it means to be alive. What factors are there, and what things that we all do, all living things do, I should say. But a phenomenon can be an image, a phenomenon can be a video, a phenomenon can be an experience. It also can be something like an infographic storyline. Let's take a look at one of those examples from our middle school program. This is biodiversity and ecosystems. What can be done to protect the endangered gray wolf from its ecosystem in Yellowstone National Park? It says go online to see this phenomenon in action. I happen to have that phenomenon up and running as well. Let's take a look at it. Here it is. So in the United States, in Yellowstone National Park, back in the 20s, wolves had a terrible reputation. Why? Because they would kill ranchers' livestock. They would kill their livestock, and the ranchers, they didn't like that very much. So they hunted the wolves to the point of extinction. And by the time we got to the 1970s, there were no evidence of wolves in Yellowstone National Park at all. They had been hunted to the point of extinction. But guess what? In the 90s, we brought them back into that ecosystem. What would happen when we reintroduced wolves into that ecosystem? Well, let's see what happens. Deer and elk populations started to go down. You'd expect, because there is an apex predator that wasn't there before. So they expect that to happen. But not everybody minded. To some animals, that was a boon. Scavengers like bears and eagles and beetles and coyotes, they feasted on the carcasses. Deer, they found different places to live, probably a smart move. Trees grew larger. Now, why would trees grow larger from the reintroduction of wolves into Yellowstone National Park? But they did, and students are going to figure out why. There is the phenomenon. Now, those trees became additional habitats for birds and small mammals. Beavers grew more dams, which created additional habitats for otters and muskrats and ducks and fish. From the reintroduction of just one species, the gray wolf, this cascading effect took place throughout that ecosystem. And that is a phenomenon. And it is presented through what we like to call an infographic storyline. So a phenomenon can be an image, a simple image. A phenomenon can be a video from the natural and design world, or it can be a infographic storyline as well. So we've seen many different examples of what phenomena can be in a classroom. Here we start with a probe as well. This is on trees being cutting down in a neighborhood, and three different students have three different ideas of what effect that would have on the ecosystem. Again, remember with the probes, every student gets a voice. We at McGraw Hill pair every single one of these probes with a discussion activity. Some that are very cool, students sharing their ideas on sticky notes, some of them tossing paper around the room, picking up that paper, and from that point on, they're speaking from the voice of their classmate. There's a fishbowl activity where you have a group of experts in the middle, and then on the outside, there are listeners. There are so many cool discussion strategies where you can have a productive, fun, interesting discussion about these probes. And remember, communicating and engaging in argument from evidence is all part of the phenomena process. It's not enough students to watch and analyze the phenomena. They have to make sense of it and then communicate their understanding over time. And they need practice at that. In middle school, we begin every lesson with a phenomena. So every module and lesson begins with a phenomena, K through 8 in Inspire Science, like it should. And this one's a little bit different. Let's take a look at this phenomena. What can be done to protect the biodiversity of this lake from the invasive zebra mussels? So zebra mussels are an invasive species, and they come into water systems like lakes in the United States on the back of boat propellers. They just kind of catch a ride and they go into the next lake. And students are going to learn about invasive species through this phenomena. This phenomena is called too many toads. Let's take, we were brought in with an intended purpose to eat beetles that were destroying sugarcane, and they had a catastrophic effect. The zebra mussels, they tend to come into ecosystems accidentally, where students are going to learn about both examples of these phenomena. And to share another vehicle for them to share their thinking and their ideas is the claim, evidence, and reasoning framework. It really works hand in hand in a phenomena-based classroom. Students make an initial claim. They try to support it with evidence throughout as they learn throughout the lesson. But guess what? At some point, they're probably going to have to revise their thinking. So this two-page spread gives them an opportunity to do just that, revise their thinking. And eventually, at the end of the lesson, we're going to have them connect their claim with evidence and making a reasoning statement, which puts it all together. So claim, evidence, reasoning. It's a part of K-8 in Inspire Science, much more prominent in 6-8 than it is in K through 5. How do students know when they need to collect some evidence? They're going to see a blue little box, and that's their clue to go back to that specific box and either make a claim, add evidence, revise their claim, or start making that reasoning statement. Just like in K5, it's time to explore and try to figure out the answers to our questions. And we do that through labs or investigations, supported with collaboration kits and also supported with video. K-5 had videos, and I shared with you, not everybody is a math special or science specialist. Some are math specialists or generalists. But middle school teachers need this support as well. I know because I was a former middle school teacher. And sometimes I would try to figure out a lab by reading the teacher's edition alone. And that's hard. Reading the teacher's edition and seeing printed words on the page and trying to figure out how it should visually look on the table, that's not an easy task. And sometimes you might read it one way. Second time you read it a completely different way. And you don't even know if you're setting the lab up correctly. So having these labs on video are so important for K through 8 teachers to know that they're going into the lab with 100% confidence. They know how it should look every single step of the way and what the outcome should be at the end. It makes the experience for teachers and students immeasurably more successful. As we continue through the experience in middle school, just like we saw in K-5, virtual labs and simulations that support these experiences. And again, in a phenomena-based classroom, that's so important, as I said, the students can process these outside of class. In middle school, we have our reading essentials, which is a lower level read of the textbook. So everybody can access the content and be a little bit more engaged and participatory in the classroom as well. Now, there's something middle school and high school as we transition to high school that we didn't see at K-5, and that's Learn Smart and SmartBook. It's an adaptive, personalized learning tool that diagnoses students' performance and it puts them on a pathway to mastery. Now, hold that thought of SmartBook. I'm going to share with it where we transition to high school here in just a moment, and I'll share with you how it can play a role in a phenomena-based classroom as well. So let's talk about high school. We started with K-5, we went into middle school, saw how they were very similar, and now let's go to high school. High school is a little bit different, but it still is phenomena-based. So if I was a biology classroom teacher, it might start out with a phenomenon like this. Why are these siblings not identical? And it would say, go online to see this phenomenon in action. If I was a physical science teacher, it might say, could a person really sink and disappear into a pit of quicksand? It says, go online to see this phenomenon in action. Now I happen to have that high school phenomena up and running. For physical science, the one about quicksand, let's take a look at a high school example here.
Before I get sucked into this one, I want to find out just how quicksand works. And to do that, I'm going to need a trough full of...
Jason can't see your screen.
Most liquids, as we all know, tend to be runny.
Cerise, you said you can't see my screen?
No, I can't see the video.
Boy, I wonder why here.
I don't know if it's just me, so anybody feel free to say in the
Can you
chat
see that
box.
video screen? Can you see that video screen right now?
No, it's I can see like lots of black lines. We cannot see too. Okay.
Barley custard, corn flour, behave in a much weirder
Let's see
way.
that.
When I dip my toe in, it completely vanishes. It behaves like a liquid.
Do you see it now,
When I
Cerise?
kick it,
No,
it
no.
behaves like a solid. So I'm going to try to walk on water. Well,
Well, let me see. This is a fun video, so let me see if I can fix it here. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, I remember this video. It's a really cool one.
it works. I'm able to walk on the custard because it belongs to a weird liquid with non-Newtonian fluids. Unlike
Not
normal-
yet.
Well, I'll have to talk you through it. They make a non-Newtonian fluid by making a custard, and then a gentleman just tests it and sees if he can walk on it and actually walk on water. And so it shows a phenomenon. How is that possible? How is he able to walk on this fluid? Well, this fluid gets thicker or thinner as pressure gets exerted on it. And so a real fun video. And then it goes on to share with you how that applies to quicksand, and how quicksand is very similar and different to that. Now, Cerise, can you see my screen now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Well, something going on with the video. Sorry about that, but very cool video. And I'm going to share with you username and passwords, by the way, to this at the end, where if you want to see the video, you'll be able to see it at the end if you'd like. So fair in high school, how do we proceed in high school? Well, we introduce claim evidence reasoning as well in high school. So you're going to see that in each and every module. And then we walk through the lesson with a focus question. The 3 dimensions are addressed not just in the teacher's edition, but also in the student edition. Vocabulary, and making sure students are understanding what we're saying is important in a phenomena-based classroom. So it's not enough to introduce new vocabulary. You constantly have to review vocabulary. Vocabulary is still the foundation for comprehension, and that's true in an NGSS-based, phenomena-based classroom as well, maybe more so when we're asking students to communicate and engage in argumentation more than ever before. So review vocabulary, word origins, so students could decode word meaning without our assistance, maybe on their own, and get really good at it. Academic vocabulary. We learned from Marzano the importance of academic vocabulary, probably more important in our science classroom than any other classroom on campus. And how about science use versus common usage? Imagine being an English language learner and coming out of, let's say, social studies or history and associating the word polar with cold, or even bears. Polar means something completely different in a physical science lesson. The word film means one thing in Hollywood, means something entirely different in a life science lesson. When you use the word store in your classroom, what do you suppose your students are thinking? They're probably thinking of a place to buy something. And why wouldn't they? That's only natural for them to think that way. And as a science teacher, you may have used that word store in a completely different context with a completely different meaning. And we assume they're with us and they're not. So being very clear about this vocabulary in a phenomena-based classroom is so important. And so you'll see those tools in there. And then you'll see Learn Smart and Smart Book. And I told you to hold that thought here for just a moment. So let's talk about it for just a moment. It's an adaptive, personalized learning tool. What do I mean by adaptive? Well, think of sites like Amazon or Netflix or some sites we go to online. The more we go to them, the more they're getting to know us a little bit better. Our likes, our dislikes, our preferences. Well, SmartBook's doing the same thing, except it's getting to know what students know and what they don't know. And it's prescribing a pathway to mastery. It starts with the SmartBook. Now, I'm going to go in as a student and share with you what it looks like here.
Screen is gone again. Sorry, Jason.
Boy, I do not know what's going on here, Cerise. I'm seeing a weird outline around my screen here.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm seeing. A weird outline.
So a weird outline that I've never seen before. And I don't know what's let me see here.
It's gone now.
It's gone now? Yeah.
It's back on.
It's back on. Wow,
Yeah.
that is weird. I wonder
Maybe we
if
can start. You can stop sharing and try again.
Okay, let me stop sharing and give it a try here. All right.
I know Zoom is acting up, wasn't letting me start this session.
Can you see my
Yes,
screen?
I can see.
Oh, okay. Well, that may have solved the problem. Thank you, Suresh.
I don't know how it did, but it did.
So, yeah, that outline was worrying me. I was wondering if something was going on. So imagine you give a students an assignment that they not only read, but it also continually asks them questions just to make sure that they're understanding along the way, and it adapts to their performance. So I've given this assignment. It's only 2 concepts. So as a teacher, you may be more comfortable giving 5 concepts, 7 concepts. This is very short, just for the purposes of this presentation. It should take students about 4 minutes, but this could be customized by the teacher. Now, as a student, I can go in to the reading, or if I think I already know this content, I can go directly to the questions. It's really up to me. Let me show you what the reading looks like. So I'm in high school biology. What's going to be a part of this assignment will be highlighted. So it looks like the cytoplasm is going to be a part of this SmartBook assignment. Okay, do I know what the cytoplasm is? I think I do. Let's continue. Let's see what else is going to be a part of this assignment. It looks like the cytoskeleton is going to be a part of this assignment as well. Do I know the difference between those two, or do I know what these two are? Can I identify those? Yeah, I think I do. So when I think I'm ready, I can go to questions. Okay. Notice what it says. Make progress by completing assignment concepts. The number of questions will depend upon your individual needs. No 2 students are going to get the same pathway. It'll adapt to their performance. That's what that is saying. It's okay to get questions wrong. You're going to earn 100% if you complete this by the due date. This SmartBook is not an assessment tool. It's a study tool. It gets students from where they're at to where we know they can be. And lastly, submit your answers by selecting your confidence. It won't affect your grade. Okay, I got it. Which is the environment inside the plasma membrane that is a semi-fluid material? I think I know that. I'm going to say cytoplasm. Now it's going to ask me how confident I am. Am I high, medium, or low confidence? I'm going to say high confidence on that. I got that one correct. Next question. The blank is a supporting network of long, thin protein fibers. Okay, I think I know that one. I'm going to say cytoskeleton. I'm going to say medium confidence. Okay, I got that one correct. So let's test a few things here. What happens if I misspell something as a student? Okay, let's give that a try. I know this one. It's going to say I got that correct. SmartBook wants to know what students know and what they don't know, and not necessarily if they could spell prokaryotic or eukaryotic 100% of the time, every time. Imagine a student saying, I got this, it's cytoplasm. And it says, you're wrong. You wanted to recognize that the student at least knows the answer. That's important for a student and for a program like this. Let's try something else here. I'm going to go next question. What happens if I start getting questions wrong? I'm going to say ribosome. Maybe I've got social media waiting for me. My friends are blowing up my phone. I'm going to try to get Mr. Marshall's assignment off my plate as fast as possible. I'm going to say I'm highly confident here. No, I got that one wrong. And how about this? I'm just going to say something totally off, like density. Oh, got that correct. Notice what it says. Before moving on, you must review this resource. And so I am forced to go back into that content and get additional support. Okay. So it is reading and continual assessments that creates this SmartBook experience. And as a teacher, I can jump in and see students' most challenging objectives based on how they performed on this assignment. What else can I see? I can see reports where students are confident and weak or overconfident. It gives me metacognitive reports, not just by class, but also by individual students. I can see how individual students are performing. Again, how is it important in a phenomena-based classroom? What we hear in 3D phenomena-based classrooms around the country is we run out of time. We're doing a lot of exploring. We're doing a lot of inquiry. We're having great, rich discussions in the classroom. And we don't get as far in the curriculum as we used to. What a lot of users do is they use SmartBook to kind of flip the classroom. And they assign a SmartBook lesson so students get the content outside of class. They read, they're being asked questions, they're being assessed. And now we can make classroom a lot more inquiry-based, a lot more engaging, a lot more phenomena-based. So that's one usage for the SmartBook program in a phenomena-based classroom. And there are many other uses as well. And you can see on the left-hand side how students do when they're with Learn Smart and SmartBook. Their performance improves. So big a difference with SmartBook and Learn Smart and without. Big Inspire Science difference. Last couple things I'm going to share with you. We want to see Inspire Science. We want to see a phenomena in the world around us. So we've actually acquired a company called Achieve 3000, which has a product called Actly Learn. And it's an ever-growing library of science articles, current events, and web quests that explore phenomena from around the world, and it embeds videos and articles and question prompts and discussions in a really rich interactive experience for students as well. Really essential, taking the phenomena to the next level. We've taken a look at the lesson and how it flows and how phenomena is expressed throughout it. Remember, start with an opportunity for students to be a part of the science discussion. That's so important. In Inspire Science, we use a probe to do that. That's the purple edge page, and it marks the beginning of the lesson. Every single lesson then begins with a phenomena. From there, they're going to explore the phenomena and try to figure out the answers to their questions. We can extend through many different ancillary resources like those investigator engineering breakthroughs of phenomena in the design world. And then we eventually have them put it all together in a STEM project. We do that in K-5, we do that in 6-8, and we do that in 9-12. If you want to see our program online and preview what it looks like online and maybe see some of our examples of phenomena, feel free to take a look at our online website. Now, if I were you, I'd probably take my phone out and I would take a picture of this. The URL is my.mheducation.com. The username, if you're K through 2 teacher, is right here. If you are grade 3 through 5 here, here's your username. Middle school teachers, this is the username for you. And high school teachers, this is the username for you. The usernames are not case sensitive, so you don't have to capitalize the G and the P like you see here. I just did it to create a little separation in those letters. But the password is case sensitive, and it's the same password for all grade levels. You'll want to capitalize the M and the H when you get there. Now, just as the last thing I'm going to share with you here, and I know we're a little bit over time, what are students going to see when they get there? What are you going to see when you get there? I just want to orient you to that page just a little bit so you know how to navigate it. The first thing you're going to see is a screen that looks something like this. And this is my personal online account. You're going to see some different books here, but here I have middle school, elementary, high school, biology, and high school physical science. Go into the class that fits what you want to explore. I'm going to click on that class. The first screen you're going to see is a dashboard screen. Think of it as a home screen. It's the first screen that you enter when you enter the class. Dashboard is one of the navigation locations you have to go to. Now, if you want to take a look at a specific content, like a topic, go to Browse Your Course right here on the dashboard screen. And you could choose what's of interest to you. Maybe it's Unit 2, the cell. Let's open that up. Okay, what within Unit 2? Maybe, how about Module 7, cell structure and function? And maybe I want to go into Lesson 4, structures and organelles. And here I'll have McGraw Hill resources organized into handy little digital file folders. Each one of these digital file folders is a little piece of the program that can be assigned individually to students and teachers. This one is a little chunk of the lesson that I could choose to assign. It can be highlighted, as you see here, by teachers and students. Embedded within this lesson is great interactivity, things that are moving and students can explore. And so go to the course view, or from the dashboard screen, go to the course pull-down menu, choose where you want to explore, and then choose that module and lesson. If you're just interested in looking at the ebook, here it is here, and here the teacher is, a book is right here. So those are the digital review username and passwords. And finally, professional development in a phenomena-based classroom. So important to get support. We provide that with McGraw Hill Education. There's a lot of phenomena-based support online as well, but the takeaway is to start leading with phenomena. In the past, what did we do? We started with content. Students were reading, at least when I was in school. We started with lesson 1 when we start reading, and we didn't have that cool activity until Wednesday or Thursday. In a phenomena-based classroom, you start with that cool activity. You start with that discussion, and then the reading comes next. That's an Inspire Science difference. I want to thank you so much for joining this webinar and for learning a little bit about phenomena, just kind of dipping our toes in it a little bit and what it might look like, and that it can be an image, it could be a video, and it even can be an infographic storyline. You may not even seen one of those before. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer them, and I appreciate your time and your attention today.
Thank you, Jason. That was very informative.
Yeah.
If anyone has any questions, we can take them up now. Or if you have a question later on, you can just email us at marketing.mea@mheducation.com, and we're happy to help you. Thank you so much for your time, and thanks for joining us for the session. Thank you so much, Jason.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Suresh. You take care.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.